Hi guys. Well, welcome back to another talk. Straightening my hair. Well, actually, my grandma straightened my hair, and came upstairs to play the piano again. It's been since like 2016 since I last played piano, and look, I'm getting better with talking to the camera now. Like it was less harder to actually start recording today, and that's with everything. As long as you start, and you stay consistent with whatever you're doing, it gets easier. And actually, I don't like the way my head looks right now, and especially the top of it. So I'm gonna do what I did right now. How did I even have it like this? Gotta cover the top. Gotta make it like. I feel I have like a huge forehead. But you know what? Let's own our huge forehead. Let's see. I'm currently trying to learn how to publish a book because I have a lot of poetry that I've done, and I was like, why not make it a book? I hear a lot of people saying like, yeah, just like start consuming, start creating, and so that's what we're gonna try to do. And I'd say the same to you. Start just consuming, endlessly consuming, endlessly consuming, endlessly consuming, endlessly. I'm just repeating it because I'm trying to make up time. But just basically just start creating. Why not? You create every day, so just start posting that content, so that way people could like you get to bond with people through that. See? Yeah, we're gonna have to edit that out. What do you call it? So what are we doing today? So today, we had e-learning. Today we had e-learning because it's like -9 degrees outside, I think, or -7. But so we had e-learning today, and I actually had the idea of making a cat shelter outside, like your own cat shelter for the outside. Gosh, I really don't like the way it looks, but it's okay. And I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And I was like, how am I gonna do this, right? Like, I was thinking like maybe grab like wood and like, gosh, it's really bothering me. Like I have like, oh my gosh, it really is bothering me. But it's like where I thought I had to grab wood and then build like the house with wood, and because we had an idea of like during the winter for like Christmas break, we wanted to what do you call it, do like a Snoopy house, like like a house but like with Christmas lights, but also like for the inside it would be able for cats to go in. And I thought it was gonna have to be with wood, but then my mom's like, well, I can tell you haven't watched any how to make shelters for cats outside, and I was like, you're right. So I searched it up, and it turns out that you need like, okay, so like you grab 2 boxes, like plastic boxes, and then in the bigger box you're gonna put a smaller box inside, just I guess for like double not necessarily protection, but like to fight against like, well, let's just get started because so I will come up with the words later. But it's basically where you grab 2 boxes. On the bigger box, you create a hole on the outside of it, and then oh, you're not seeing the cat. Where's the sound? Can't reach. you grab like 2 boxes, and then see if we can explain this with more than words. So, I have a notebook here. My pencils are downstairs. So, what we're gonna do is we are. Oh, actually, maybe not right now. Basically, you grab. Well, maybe like after we edit this, I can add like a diagram here, right here. So let's show it right here. And so basically, it's gonna be like 2 boxes. Okay, so a bigger box and then a smaller box to go inside the bigger box, because on the outside of the box, you're gonna make a circle like with like, I'm guessing like it depends on like what instrument, not like instrument, but like instruments as in object that you're gonna use for it. So like you make the outline of it so that there's like, I think it's at like 6 inches, 6 by 6 to for the cat to be able to go in, but no predators to go inside. But I think that's still like, no, actually, that's not about right, probably. And so basically that's where the cat's gonna go in, and then when he goes in, he'll be going into the smaller box, because on the surrounding of on the inside of the bigger box, there's still gonna be space after you put the small box in there. So then on that remaining space, you're gonna put straw. It's like the one that looks like hay. It looks like hay, but it's not hay. It's straw. That's what it's called, and that's because it doesn't have any nutritional components. So it won't be like likely to get predators in it, because they're not attracted to like not food. And so when we put that one in there, it's to keep the warmth in there, and also it's also for moisture, so that like if you were to put a blanket instead of straw, like that would get like wet, and but the straw retains that moisture. And so you put it on the outside of the smaller box and on the inside of the larger box, and then on the and then on the outlines, if you also want to, you put mylar. I think it was mylar. It's like something that looks like aluminum foil, but I think that because I don't have that and we can't go out to the store right now, we're gonna just use like this insulation thing that they got, because like they removed my room, so they needed to get that for the insulation, because the house didn't really have any insulation. Because like it actually turned out that it like whenever it was cold, my room was the coldest place in the house, because whenever like, because we were in the winter, right? But it is because like there was like the wall part was like open, so it was like basically there was no wall. Maybe it protected you from the winds, but not the cold. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a wall, but it wasn't like a wall. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it was. And so basically, I was sleeping outside without the wind, but better conditions, thanks to the Lord and to my family. And and I think that's probably why I got used to the cold now. But I still wear sweaters, right? Because it's nice to be. But fall is the best. But yeah. So what was I even saying? Why did I get to that part? Oh, because of the of the of the thing on the wall. I forgot it already. Oh, insulation. The insulation thing. And there's like this thing for insulation. So we're gonna use that. And we're gonna cut it out, and we're gonna put it into boxes. And then, well, I don't have straw right now, but I could use so I'll find something else to use. Maybe even a blanket on the outside. Even though I just like contradicted myself again, but until I get the straw, we're just gonna have to do with what we have. And we're also gonna have to make 2 holes, one in the front and one in the back of the things for the cats, because predators, if a predator goes in, the cat will be able to escape, because if there's only like for the front, like where's the cat gonna go? The predator's gonna come in, and that's not good. That is not good. And we're gonna do that. And also, now that we're talking about cats, Actually, we can do that later. Or should I just say Uranus? Anyways, we're gonna do that. We're gonna build the place for the cats. And also, now that we're on the topic of cats, in my last video I mentioned that my cat passed away. It's gonna be a month and 2 days. He passed away. I've had that cat since how old was I? I was 6. I was 6 when I got the cat. It's weird calling him the cat, like, because obviously you guys don't know who he is yet, but his name is Sochi. Now you guys know him, if you didn't know him before. And he was a very important cat. He's my first ever pet, first ever animal family. But I won't go into too much details in this video unless you guys really want me to, as in another video, because it'll be dedicated just for him if you guys are interested in that. But essentially, my baby passed away, and I have this plushie that I've had since when he was already here. And it's like a tuxedo cat, but and that's the cat that, like, cause me and my cat would go to sleep together every single night. He'd follow me everywhere, and I'd follow him everywhere. And so when he passed away, the day that I came back, I was just that plushie in life, and that's where I felt comfort, because it reminded me of him, and I was able to get over. Well, you never really get over a loss, right? But it was helpful in overcoming very strong emotions. And so I would carry him everywhere I would go. And like if I was downstairs, I'd take him downstairs. If I was going to my grandma's house, I'd take him with me in my backpack. Everywhere, me and that cat. And so I was crying one night, and it was actually when we had gotten back from my grandma's house on Christmas night. And yeah, and so my mom came up and she was like, what do you need? Is there anything I can do for you? My mom cares a lot about people. And I said, I just want my baby back. And she said, I'm sorry, but he's not coming back. And like, when you hear like the words coming out of somebody else's mouth, it's just like acceptance of truth that you knew. Truth that you knew but didn't want to accept. But then it's just in your face, and it's just like you have to witness, you have to look at him. You can't just like, if it's right there, you can't, if you close your eyes and it's just like trying to like be there in front of you, it's just like, I'm sure that you understand as much as it hurts to say it, and I'm very sorry for any kinds of pains that you might be going through right now, that you are going through right now. You get through this with God, and anything. Focus on Him, not the storm, is what I told myself every single time that anything that was trying to take my faith away, or anything that was hurtful, or anything that was just happening, that was just so much attention was like taken into that, that's what I would tell myself. Focus on him, not the storm. And it really helped me, because it also literally, when he went missing for 9 days on November 17th, and he came back. So number 9 is also my favorite number, because that's my mom's birthday, my little brother's birthday, and then somehow I correlated it to my dad's birthday, but his is the 20th, and also because of Nikola Tesla's 369. There's just number 9 is just my favorite number, and it's interesting how it was 9 days until we found him, and then after he died, it was 9 days until New Year's, like to the New Year, like, so like he died on the 23rd, and then 9 days passed, and then it was 2025, and then so the plushie, and then she said, I'm sorry, but it's just really painful to see you this way, and she said, try redirecting your pain into something that is going to benefit not only you but others that are also in that pain. And so it was very painful to admit it, but he wasn't coming back. Things we lose aren't coming back, but as in their physical bodies, but really he never really left because I get so distracted with everything. I'll do that in another time. There's poems if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff to see. Maybe you guys will be able to relate to some of them, and maybe you guys have other types of ways that you guys also cope with very deep emotions. I'm curious. I'm curious though because I feel like for me it was my cat and poetry and the Lord, some sort of art form. But maybe for you guys it's like something else. But what is it? What's something that like I'm curious like to seeing if there's like something that many of us haven't like heard before. Maybe like I'm not sure, like sports. I feel like sports is a way to exercise, is a way to cope with emotions too. But I'm just curious. But that's what she told me, that you have to redirect your pain, and I was like, you're right. It's very like when you're facing grief, I'm talking about it casually now, cause behind the scenes we already cried a lot. I cried literally like 5 minutes before recording this. And it's just to say that everybody that you see is probably facing a battle that you know nothing about. So always be kind. Always be kind. And I have to work on that because I'm not very kind. But we gotta work on it. Well, we can't be labeling ourselves, as we talked about in the last video. So I'm just a person. Sometimes I struggle with behavior. Most of the time. Let's be for real. And we'll get better one step at a time. The first step is admitting the truth, though. Oh, that's my cat in my room. And what do you call it? And so we started coming up with ideas. We were like, why not create plushies that other kids haven't had? Like, as in, for a form of love. Because our neighbor, very sweet neighbor, name is Laura, and her husband, um, they're very sweet people. And basically, her job consists of, I'm guessing, like being there for children with many difficulties in their life that they have had to face. I admire that of them. They're very caring people. And mom was telling me how maybe they've never had a plushie, maybe they've never had anything like, they've never had a bond with somebody, like a pet. Like I'm sure if you had a pet, you've been able to say, yeah, our bond is really big, and especially after your loss, I'm sure you're able to realize like, wow, how profound they really had an impact on my life. And so we came up with the ideas of basically making plushies. So like that we were able to give like what, so like let's say like we had said like we make plushies that resemble my cat, like with his nose stripe, and then like right here he had white spots, and then his paws were white. They're my favorite in the whole world. Like it was just so cute how like the rest of his arm was black, but then his paws were white, and it was just so cute. And then his little legs, they were also white. And sometimes I would even think like, oh my god, he looks like a little rat. Not like in a bad way, but like, cause you know like rats' legs, how like it was just. I'll show you another picture another time. But yeah, so that was the idea, making plushies that look like my Sochi for those who weren't able to have any kind of love like that, essentially. In a nutshell. Well, the ideas that went up. And so we were thinking of names, and we came up with catharsis, because catharsis is my favorite word, because, and I actually learned that word from one of my favorite artists, which their name is Them and I. They're really good. Their music isn't the only art that artist creates. Like you can feel the emotion, the poetry through their music, and it's just so beautiful. And it's just like, oh, me and my cat used to actually listen to him together. And one of the songs that we would listen to of him was Lover's Grip, and now that song means even more. And the lyrics, I can relate them to my baby even more now. And anyways, thanks to him, I was able to learn of the word catharsis, and it's basically like purification from, like, let's say, like, it could be like traumas, deep emotions, like something that like helps you purify deep emotions. Like for me, it was my cat. Like spending time with him, like I could just be so mad, and then all of a sudden, or it could be prayer, and like you write, journaling, and also poetry. So it's just kind of like ways of purifying deep emotions, basically. And I hope I didn't slander the word, actually. But yeah. And to me, he was my catharsis too. And then I speak Spanish, so then I realized that I was like, okay, so we can't take the domain catharsis. Well, what is it in Spanish? And it was catharsis. It was just without the H, but catharsis, but without the H, basically. And I liked it because it had cat at the beginning, so it's just cat. So catharsis. And so then I took away the S at the end, and I put an X because my cat's name starts with an X, and he passed away. So it was in memory of him, so it was catharsis. And so we came up with that after like trying to come up with other names like Florecita, because my cat's name means flower in Spanish, and where it's a kind of flower in Spanish. And yeah, so we came up with that name, and the next day we bought the domain catharsis.com, and then I was thinking, I'm like, how can this also help us to continue living and creating content, but also for a good reason, for a good cause, for something good, something that is able to help. So I came up with the idea of like, there's like this goal for every year around Christmas time, we're gonna give them like the cats out into where kids need them. So like um like orphanages, or like places where kids with many difficulties are in. That's where like we're gonna try and send them a lot of them, like after we get them manufactured, like a lot of them, so many of them could have the opportunity that I was able to have, and trying to save hope, trying to save love. Because I do think that if I didn't have my family there with me, I probably wouldn't be as okay as I am now. And I can imagine for others that are facing many difficulties that perhaps haven't felt loved, which is really hard to think about, especially once we have lived a life full of love, I think. And so that, like, it'll be our goal for like around Christmas time. That's where all of the cat productions are gonna go in. And also, for other time, it's gonna be like, I think I'm gonna make like, Sludgy's gonna be the main one, right? But then I was also thinking, why not if a person has like a cat that has passed away for them, I'm gonna try and make a couple of breeds of cats. For now it's just cats, but maybe eventually it'll be more animals. But for now, the main thing, just to get started, it'll be cats. So like, if they have any animals, like let's say like Maine Coons, like if your cat is Maine Coon, and unfortunately, but fortunately, what a blessing their life must have been, and if they have passed away, um, then you can buy a Maine Coon cat just for memories. And if you really want your cat personalized, then if you send a request, I'm gonna find a way to like somehow work with the website. Like if you have a request, like to get them specifically done like a cat, like they have markings that the one that we made didn't have, then I'm gonna try and be like, if I could self-manufacture them, because right now I'm gonna start with self-manufacturing cats. So I'm gonna create a cat like because I'm learning how to sew. We're gonna learn how to sew. We're learning how to crochet too. And I was thinking, yeah, why not sell cats by crocheting them? But I was like, that's way too time consuming, and it really is. And so I was like, okay, then we can try sewing, and then maybe if we get like more, then we can send them to a manufacturer. And but if it's really a cat that you really want to be specifically looking like your own pet, your own family, then send a request in. I'm gonna have to find a way to get like the send a request in a picture, and we can do that. And if you really don't want to go through that process and there's like an animal breed, then I'm gonna try and have some animal breeds, some cat breeds, on the main page that you're able to like purchase if you're interested in them. And also, I want to see if for now for like the manufacturing like self-production, if I can like make them like little shirts for like the pets, make them shirts with sayings like, for example, like a cat, and then on the shirt like he'll have a shirt that says something like focus on him, not the storm, or you are loved, or smile, or just breathe, just breathe, breathing. Well, um. And maybe even like a little tag, maybe like something like if you're gonna send it to somebody else, maybe like you could put like something here like that, like a word that you guys both share, or like a sentence, a phrase, something meaningful. And I think that's really it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. It'll be something new. It's good to try things out. Which reminds me of that one guy. I think this is where like he also inspired me because he like sells potatoes, but like you make a custom message and he writes it on a potato, ships it out, and I think that was like really cool, and I think it's a very interesting way of making money, and I think it's cool. It's time consuming, I'm sure, but it's still really cool. And yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna be working on, and also I want to be a vet, so we have to start working hard for that before we actually. Um, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to college. I'm pretty sure like I want to get like some learning in done. I feel like if you have like something that you want to do, but that you think like, oh, we need to go to college for, I think that there's many ways that like you could be learning online right now, so that way you can avoid most of the time that would have been going in college and like a lot of money that goes there. But I think that you could get some sort of certificates online, or that you have to pay for, but that you'll be learning faster. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure you still need to get hands on, getting around, learning around that. So like at least find ways to get hands on. And other than that, though, I feel like there's a lot of ways that you can start now instead of waiting. Oh, but that's until like maybe like until I get to college or something like that. But no, start now. And it's hard. It's easier said than done. That's for sure. But little by little, we'll all eventually learn together. And it's better to have the hard of now than the hard of regret, I think. And if there's any kind of like topics that you're interested in, like to delving on, like poetry, like self-help, like stuff like that, money, I'm sure that we can talk about it here. Um, Kindness is good. Um, I'm not sure else what to say. I've been just rambling about like 30 minutes now. Just very grateful for like, just be grateful for everything. Like, it's like so easy to fall into the whole of complaining, but just the more we start being grateful for what we have, the more that fulfillment begins to grow. It's like just plant a little seed in someone's heart. Plant a little seed in your own heart and water it. Sometimes the water is pain. Sometimes the water is grief. Sometimes the water is love. But water that seed, and you'll begin to see growth. Perhaps the growth of pain, which is what many of us go through, or the pain, perhaps the growth of love, because you plant love in somebody, and perhaps it even outgrows the way that the seed of pain grows. And it's just live your life. Don't think of your life. Live it. You know, we stay so stuck in our heads sometimes, and it's not good. Like right now, like before, like the last time that I recorded, this is my second recording, but the first time that I recorded, I was nervous. I'm like, what if like my parents come upstairs and they see me doing this? Like, what are you doing? Even though they have told me like, hey, start your own things, and they're very supportive, but it's still a little embarrassing because it feels like you're talking to nobody because you're looking at a camera and then you're looking at yourself, but then you have to remind yourself this isn't for yourself. Do it for others. And I feel like that way, after you start trying to think of it like, don't do this for yourself, do it for others, it gets easier because you have a better reason of why to keep going. Because it's not like, well, maybe it's because it's for me, but like I'm trying to save. No, do it for others. Like as in, do it for others, even your future self, because you're not there yet. So that's somebody else that you'll become. Do it for your pets. They need food. They need litter. They need litter box. They need litter. They need water. They need food. You do it for your family. They need a home, somewhere to be warm. Do it for other people. Do it for those who can't. I have like this little thing that I made out of like for my backpack. Like it's a little chain that I made that it says, "Do it for those who can't," or "For those who can't," because I heard that somewhere. I'm like, that's very true. Some people can't. Do it for those who can, and do it for those you love, including yourself. Even though it's hard, sometimes we tell ourselves like to love ourselves. Think of yourself. Think not of yourself, but think of the baby that you once were. Think of the little girl. Think of the little boy that you once were. Like, think of taking care of them. Like, just close your eyes and think of you, the little you, when you were younger. Think of yourself on the beach, on a beautiful place, and just hear the waves. That's what I think all the time. Just hearing the waves on the sand, and you're looking at their back. Would you tell them you're worthless and I don't love you? Tears will start rolling down their eyes. Maybe they'll scream at you, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll take it, and maybe that's how you were raised to be. So let's start changing for that little person inside of you, little by little. And eventually, perhaps they'll feel comfortable enough with you to hold your hand. Or perhaps you'll feel comfortable enough to hold their hand after they've been reaching out for you for a long time. To finally grab their little hand and be like, I'm sorry. I'm here now. Let's start again. Just love. And love you guys. Bye.